Satyam Scam was not just a financial fraud but also a massive corporate governance failure that shocked not only India but the global business community. Satyam Computer Services was founded in 1987 by Ramalinga Raju. By the early 2000s, it had grown into one of India's leading IT services, providing software solutions, consulting to global clients. The company was listed in both the Bombay Stock Exchange and the New York Stock Exchange, with its market capitalization peaking at several $billion. It was seen as one of the brightest examples of India's success in the global IT sector. Now, let's know it in detail how the scam was unraveled in 2009. In January 2009, the fraud was exposed when Ramalinga Raju resigned as the chairman and issued a shocking confession letter. In his letter, he admitted that the company had inflated its revenue, profits, and bank balances for several years. The company's balance sheet had fictitious assets and liabilities, with the reported cash and bank balances being completely fabricated. In a statement, Raju said it was like riding a tiger, not knowing how to get off without being eaten. Raju's confession revealed that the company had overstated its profits by about 5,040 crores, which is around $1.2 billion over several years. The scale and depth of the fraud were unprecedented for a company of this size. How the fraud was perpetrated? First, falsified revenue and profits. Next, faked bank balances. Next, non-existent employees. The company inflated its payroll figures, creating ghost employees to show higher expenses. Next, inflated assets. Satyam also fabricated its assets, especially in the form of cash, bank balances, which were shown in its financial statements as liquid assets that didn't exist. This kind of large-scale manipulation was possible due to a combination of weak internal controls, lack of oversight, and a lack of effective auditing practices. Now let's know the aftermath. What was the immediate impact? The announcement had an immediate and devastating impact on Satyam's stock price. It plummeted by around 77% in a single day. Investors, employees, clients were left shocked and uncertain about the company's future. What were the legal consequences? Raju, along with several other top executives, was arrested. He was charged with fraud, forgery, and insider trading. In 2015, Raju was sentenced to 7 years in prison. Other executives involved in the scam were also arrested and given various terms of imprisonment. Now let's know the regulatory and corporate governance changes. The scandal led to a crackdown on corporate governance and auditing standards in India. SEBI imposed stricter regulations on auditing firms and required companies to adhere to enhanced transparency in their financial disclosures. ICAI also strengthened its auditing guidelines. In 2009 April, the Indian conglomerate Tech Mahindra, part of Mahindra Group, bought Satyam for 1,757 crore, around $350 million, in a government-led bailout. This helped prevent further damage to the company's employees, customers, and stakeholders. Tech Mahindra eventually merged Satyam with itself in 2013, bringing the scandal to a close. Now let's know what was the global impact. The scandal also drew attention globally, as Satyam was also on the list of New York Stock Exchange (NYSE). Fraud ने concerns raise किए about the effectiveness of global auditing profession, especially in emerging markets like India. It shook investor confidence in Indian corporate governance and forced companies कि वो evaluate करें अपने internal control systems को. अब क्या हमारे पास की lessons और reforms आए? Let's know that. सबसे पहले strengthening of corporate governance. Government introduced reforms जिसने transparency, accountability को improve किया, and the Companies Act of 2013 introduced stricter corporate governance laws. Next, auditory responsibility. Auditing firms were made more accountable responsible for their role in detecting fraud. Next, this incident served as a wake-up call for other corporate leaders and businesses in India to be more diligent and transparent about their financial reporting. Now let's know what was Satyam's legacy. Satyam Scam remains one of the largest corporate frauds in Indian history, and its aftermath continues to influence the corporate policies and regulations in India today. Scandal prompted a serious debate about the role of corporate governance, importance of ethical business practices, and the need for effective regulation in the corporate sector. Despite its dark history, the eventual revival of Satyam through its merger with Tech Mahindra showed that even after such a large-scale crisis, recovery possible है अगर सही time पर interventions हो जाएं. However, the stain left by scam will likely remain as a cautionary tale for both Indian and global businesses.